There we go. Welcome everybody to today's Success Meetup. We're going to be talking about using text codes on your sign writers for some great lead generation. And if you are watching this later on YouTube, please scan this QR code so that you can register and attend these sessions live. We do our Success Meetups on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. All right, I'm going to turn on my video, say hello to everybody. Hi. So today like I said, we're going to talk about QR code. No, I talked about QR codes. We're going to talk about text codes, but we can talk a little bit about QR codes too, because I did a great session last week about using QR codes, and it does apply here, and I will stick that. Actually, I'll do that right now. I'll stick that in the chat for everybody. It kind of goes hand in hand with what we're doing today, actually. There we go, everyone. Okay. And so if you've got a listing and you put that sign out in the yard, and I know everybody loves putting their sign out because it's got your name on it, it's got your information on it, and it's great marketing for you. But when people are driving by the house, and there's, it's not open and they're just kind of driving around and they see it and they're interested and they want some information about the house, they might pick up the phone and call the number on the sign, but they also might not. They might just be like, oh, let me find this address and then I'm going to look it up on Zillow or something because I don't really want to talk to somebody right now about it. I just want to get some more information, see the pictures inside and all that good stuff. If that's the case, then you're kind of missing out on those drive-by people. So what I would suggest doing is using your text codes and making some reusable sign writers for your signs. We're going to talk about how to do that. And not only are we going to talk about how to do that, but we're also going to talk about what to do after they do text for that information. And we're going to make a quick little follow-up text campaign that's going to try and get their email address from them and get a little more information from them and start that conversation. That'll just kick off immediately based on the hashtag you add to the text code. And we'll go through how to make that and how to do that today. So bonus, when we're done making that, I'll do a little share code and I'll put it in the comments so people can just share that, get that over into their KV Core if they want to, and then, twiddle with it and just make sure it's exactly what they want. And I'll also put it in the description on YouTube so everybody can have that when we're done. Okay, let's get started. So I'm gonna reshare my screen and we're gonna talk about how to make these text codes. So you're gonna say, well, I want to make a text code and I want to put a sign on my sign writers, but I don't want to have to make a new writer for every single listing that I have. And so you really want to think about how many listings do you have at any one time, and maybe add one or two more to that because hopefully you're going to get even more listings and you're going to start to grow. But go ahead and get some sign writers made, and all of the sign writers need to say is for more info and pics, text whatever the code is to your smart number. And so I'm going to show you in your lead engine, you have what's called your call and text capture. Now, if you are a single agent, you have a smart number that's provided to you by your office. And this number is shared by everybody in your office. So if you think about it, I always say this about getting your own smart number, which you can do. I think it's like 17 bucks a month or 20 something. I don't remember how much it is. 20 something bucks a month. Let's find out. What does it tell me? 27 bucks a month. If you want to, because if someone drives by and they don't text and they actually call it and you don't own your own smart number, then it could technically go to anybody in your office. The chances of that happening are not super high, but it could happen. So you might want to think about getting your own smart number. The great thing about the text code is if you make the text code, once you have this code, no one else in your office can make a text code with the same code because it's going to route directly to you. So you have a code already that's usually your name that's already been made for you. But the other thing you're going to do is you're going to grab some other codes. And once you grab these codes, just be sure never to delete them. You can always change them. They're going to be yours. And so if you're, especially for those of you that maybe your office just came online with KV Core, a lot of these are still going to be available. And so I would go grab them, even if you don't have text codes, don't have any listings or anything to do with them right now. If you just grab them and keep them, then you will have them and no one else in your company can make them. So if I, let's say this is my smart number, and if I add a new text code, and maybe the text code, think about text codes you want to be easy, short, and make sense. So the text code could be info. And my smart number, I have several in here because that's the one they gave me up here, 499, yeah. You might have more than one in here, depending if you, for instance, if you're a member of a team and a company and an office, maybe you're a member of two offices or whatever, you might have several different phone numbers to choose from. So obviously you're going to want to make sure to pick the right one. And when I say the right one, it doesn't really matter. Any of them will work if you have access to them. But when you're making your sign writers, you want to make sure that they have the correct number hooked to the correct text code. So I'm going to try this one first, and I'm going to say info. And then I'm just going to go into message and just put a little X there and add it. And I have it. So now what I've done basically is I've taken info, and if anybody else who uses this same number in my office or my team or whatever tries to do one, it's going to say, oh, sorry, that one's already taken. Do something else. So I would recommend going in and thinking about some text codes that you want to make that you like the word makes sense, and just keep them. So once they're in here, just never delete them. You can always go in and change them, but they're yours now and no one else in the company can have them. If you have your own smart number, that doesn't matter because no one else can, it doesn't, you have info, someone else has info, but it's on a different number. So it doesn't make a difference. But if you're sharing your smart number, I would highly recommend going in and saying, okay, I'm going to grab these codes. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to, I'm just going to grab a listing. So I don't have any listings because I'm not an agent, but if I did, so let's say that this is my listing. What I want to do is I want to put a sign up outside of this house, and the sign writer says, for more info and pictures, text info to this smart number. And I want to make it so that if they do that, instantly they will get a return text with a link back to that property on my website. Okay. I see somebody chatted in. Let's see. If one has a separate cell number, can one use this as a dedicated smart number? You cannot use your cell phone number as a smart number. No. You can forward your no, you can't even do that. No. I mean, when you set up your smart number, it will send to your cell number, but it will also send to the app. You would download the app, you get a ping like, hey, you have a new text, and you could text back that way, but you can't use your cell phone. You can't choose your cell phone number as a smart number. It's a dedicated number because it has all this routing stuff and information on it. So the answer to that is no. I'm sorry to say. You could still put your cell phone number like on your sign or something, but like up on the rider, you would have to use the smart number. Okay. So if I'm going to, you're welcome. If I'm going to send back an automatic reply, there's two schools of thought. You can send back a reply that sends them the information for the house and require them to sign up before they can see it, or just let them look at the information for the house. So if you have them sign up, then you're going to get not only their phone number, but you're going to get their email address. If you don't have to ask them to sign up, you just let them look at the house on your website, which I kind of recommend doing because you probably want to get your home sold. You know, you're already still going to capture their cell phone number, right? But so you'll still have a way to connect with them. You'll get their cell phone number anyway. And what will happen is they'll be able to look at information um, on your website about that house, which is a good idea for your sellers. So that would be my way to go, but you can do it the other way. So if you take the direct link, so anytime you're in your listing, this is the direct link to your listing. This direct link is going to follow whatever rules you have set up in your settings for your website. So if I go to my web and IDX and I go to my settings and I go down to, oh, nice. I did not put that there. Here, and it's normal prompt registration, then it's going to make people required to do it right away. If you want to do it, if you have it set to like, they can look at 2 houses before they have to be registered, then they would be able to see your property and then only be asked to sign up if they looked at something secondary. But if you have it set to right away, I think actually they can see 1. That's true. They can see 1. So it's still going to work. If you wanted them to not be able to see that particular property without signing up to begin with, then what you'd want to do is you'd want to make a squeeze page for that property. And let me go back to my listing for Shirley and grab the MLS number. So in your Web and IDX, nope, in your lead engine, you would build a single property squeeze page for this particular property, right? And you might want to do this anyway, because then it will have some tracking information on it. So if you have it immediate, means they would have to sign in before they could even look at the property. If you have 2, they can look at your property, and then if they wanted to look at something else, they'd have to sign up, or you could say never. I don't want to make them sign up. So it's up to you. But your source would be like SignWriter. This is where they're coming from. The hashtag might be Auburn Avenue, but oopsies, has to be all one word. But the hashtag and the source are only going to connect if they have to sign up. So if they don't sign up from this link, that's not going to track anyway. So you kind of have to make a decision which way you want to go about it. I'm going to just go with the regular link because I don't care about them signing up at my website because I'm already going to get their cell phone number when they do this. So now I want to go to all listings, find that again. So you can take the link. The other thing you can do is you can take the MLS number, and I'll show you both. And actually, I'm gonna put this over here so you guys I can refer back to it. So let's go back. So we're gonna go to call and text capture. Info was my code. I'm gonna edit this. I saved it in there so no one else can have it. And I'm going to edit it. So info, you can do one of 2 things. You can either send them a message or you can send them an MLS ID. The MLS ID was here. And what that does is it's basically just going to send them a link to the house. You can do this. I think I'd like to put a little message in there instead. So you could do this just here and be done. And the hashtag could be Auburn, Auburn. So you know that they were looking at Auburn Avenue, or they asked for information about Auburn Avenue. So if they come in, if they text info to this number, what's going to happen is they'll get a link to your listing, and into your CRM will be their phone number with the hashtag of Auburn Avenue. So you know that they ask for information about your sign writer. You'll capture their cell phone number. And to me, honestly, there's no better contact information than a cell phone number, right? And you know it's correct because it's not like they had to type it in. We've tracked it. And now they're opted into text messaging because they texted you first and all that good stuff. That's the way to go. So that's option A, quick and dirty. Option B would be to say something like, thanks for your interest in here's all the listing info. And then take that link, put it right here. I like that better. Just me. And then you can save it. So now if you text info to this phone number, that message will get sent back to you immediately. And the hashtag of Auburn Avenue will be on there. Now, you can use that hashtag to trigger a campaign, or you can make another hashtag, let's see, that's just like sign writer. Writer. And maybe do it off of that. The reason I say that you might want to do this is that if you're doing a follow-up campaign, if you want that can to be bleh, if you want that campaign to be super specific to that particular property, you might want to use the hashtag of that property's name. But if you want to make a more generalized one that's going to run for every single sign writer that you have out there, and you don't care that it's you don't care if it's specific or not, you'd probably just use something like sign writer. Then you don't have to make a separate campaign for each individual sign writer that you have out there and each individual listing. Now, you can only choose one of these for this particular situation. A lot of other times you can do multiple hashtags. This you can only do one. And you might say, well, if I do this, how do I know that they were interested in this particular property? And the answer to that would be, it would not come in as a hashtag, but if you opened them up and you looked at what they texted you, you would be able to see this in the outgoing text message, and you would know that that's the particular property that they were interested in. So I'm going to save this guy right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, you could just leave it there. You could just say, hey, I'm going to get their information. As soon as they come in, I'm going to call them up and I'll be like, hey, I saw you were outside, and you should. Hey, I saw you must have been outside my listing on Auburn Avenue. It's a great property. Can I answer any questions for you? You working with anybody? Can I show it to you? Whatnot. So you definitely want to do that. But if they don't answer, or if or if you don't have time to call them right then, you can kick off a campaign that will start working to start that conversation, right? So let's make that campaign. So I'm going to take that hashtag of sign writer, and I'm going to go to my smart campaigns. And I had actually started one. that I'm going to delete so that I can start it from scratch. So we can do this together. So if we're going to add a campaign, we click add campaign, and we want to do it when the hashtag is SignWriter, right? So anybody that does any SignWriter text for you is going to get this campaign immediately. Next, this is going to be for a buyer. Next, campaign name is going to be SignWriter follow-up. Description is elicit an email and info from SignWriter text. Next, is this correct? Yes. And now it's going to be in here. So let's find it right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the action of a text message. And a good one to me is just to make sure they got the information and see if they have any questions, right? Every text message you send should have like a question or a way for them to take some kind of action. So I'm going to say, hey, hi, I just wanted to follow up with you regarding your request for more information about my listing. After reviewing the information, did you have any questions or want to schedule a showing? And so the template might be listing text follow up number 1. Actually, what's the template? It's listing questions. And the name, so what you put here is what the name of the template is. So you could always use this template later on somewhere else. And the name here is what's the name going to be in your list of actions. So this might be text SignWriter text follow up number 1. It's going to go from you to the contact. And I'm not going to run it immediately because they just got a text from you with the information. We want to give them some time. So maybe we send it an hour later, right? Let's add another action. So let's say they don't respond to that. Okay. We want to try and get their email address now. So I'm going to send another text message. And it's going to be ask for email. Or it could be offer properties, ask for email. And we're going to say, maybe you want to refresh the memory of who you are. Hey, this is Vigent. You do the little squiggly bracket, it'll pull up all your merge tags. Agent, oopsies, agent, first name with office. Office name, or it could be your team name or whatever. It'll pull in team name, it'll pull in office name. I don't know if it pulls in company name, or if you put your website or whatever. Checking back. I'd love to send some similar properties your way. You might be interested in. What's the best email to send those to? Try and get their email address, right? Oh, whoopsies. So you have to give it a name. So I'm going to call it SignWriter text follow-up number 2. It goes from the agent to the contact, and maybe we don't want to, oh my gosh, stop with my autofills. Maybe we want to send it 2 days later. Or the next day. Day 2 would be Yeah, like 2 days later. So I'd save it. Um, what's another good way? Another good way to get them to sign up or to get their email address is to have them sign up for a market report. So you could, where's this was at? This was at in Shirley, New York. So if I go to my squeeze, make a market report squeeze for Shirley. Shirley, New York. Oh, I thought I saw it. Shirley. There's Shirley, Pennsylvania, Shirley, New York. There it is. Um, and this could be, your source could be sign writer because that's really where they came from to begin with. Um, could be Shirley, New York for your hashtag or whatever hashtag you want to put in. Now you want to use this short link because it's better for putting in text messages. And that's why I like to use actually doing any kind of squeeze page and putting in your text messages because it gives you a short link, which is really nice. So I can take this link and I can say another text message. And this text message is put that link in here. Hey, are you still house hunting? It's always a good idea to keep an eye on what the market is doing. I can send you regular market updates so you're always informed. Sign up here. So they'll get the market update right then, but they're going to have to put their email address into. So that's another good way to get it. And so offer market report. This is going to be sign writer text follow-up 3. It's going to go from you to them. And let's give them a breather this time. Let's do maybe day 5. Right? Save. I don't want to give it too long in between. Because if you think about it, if someone's actually driving around looking at houses, they're probably in the funnel of like, their readiness are pretty much at the front end. They might already have an agent, who knows, but like, they're close. So you don't want to kind of let them go. Then another great way to get them to sign up is if they want to find out what their home is worth. Maybe they have a home to sell. And this is also, let's see, I'm going to send a text message. Actually, no, we're going to go back and do another squeeze page for a seller squeeze. So you could just send them to your sell page, which is right here. And they can put in their address and stuff. But again, this is a really long, it's not, depending on what your URL is, it might be pretty long. So if you, again, do a seller squeeze, the source would be sign writer. And the hashtag could be Shirley, New York home value. And the location was Shirley. So I spelled it wrong. There we go, Shirley. And if I generate that link, I'm going to get that little link again, right? They sign up from this. This actually, I'll show you what it looks like. The difference between this and your sell page is it says something like, my clipboard is screwed up. Copy that. It says something like, actually puts, find out what your Shirley home is worth. You could do something like that. And then we're going to say add action. So we're going to do a text message. We're going to put that link in there. And then you could say, hey, Just curious if you're planning to sell before you buy. You can use my free tool to check your home value. And maybe they're not selling before they buy. They might just come back to say, no, we're first time home buyers, but it starts the conversation, right? Either way. So offer home value. Um, oh, and maybe we do that on day 7. Or, right, and save it. Now, a couple of things here. I don't know if you remember back, way back when I was saying, when you're choosing your hashtag, we use the sign writer hashtag. So this could be ubiquitous to anybody that, that signs up. But you could do a specific one for each single one that you do. And like on this one, instead of saying, I want to follow up with you regarding request for information about my listing, it could have been about my listing on Obdon Street or whatever it was, or, you actually refer to the actual listing. You could do that and make it a little more tailored to the particular listing. Or you could say something like, oh, uh, are you interested in knowing when another good one would be, and we could actually do that. We could do here. Let's just do it. Text message. We could say sell price offer, or maybe status change offer. And then you could say, I maybe remind them again who you are again. Seeing if you wanted me to keep you updated on um when this property is sold and what it ended up selling for. What's good email to send that info to. But obviously, like, this is going to sound a little better if, we're a week out or something. If what this property was, you might want to make it more specific to the actual listing. So it kind of depends on how many listings you have and how often you're doing this. Like if you're doing one listing a month or something, you could obviously make this way more tailored and you would have the time to do it. But if you've got like 10 listings all the time, it just would be too much probably to do that. So we're going to do sign writer follow-up text 5. Agent to contact. Ugh. We'll do this on day 10. Save. Okay, so we've got this whole thing done. I'm going to, as promised, go back to, right here. So what you can do is I can share this campaign. Yes. And here's the share code right here. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys can have it. And if you don't know how to use a share code, basically you're just going to log in, you're going to go to your campaigns and this little button right here, you're just going to paste that in and hit return and it'll pull in that campaign for you so that you have it in your campaigns and you can clone it down and maybe change it or edit it or do whatever you want with it to make it your own. Okay. Before you do that, actually, let me do one other thing. One other thing I wanted to show you how to do, and I think a great idea on that would be to add it to your campaign, maybe on day, like if none of this has worked, maybe you do a task for yourself, send listings via text. And I actually have one on here already. This is a good one, actually. So you want to text leads, a list of properties they might be interested in, and this will give you a little 1-minute video on how to do it. I'll do this. But I'll show you how to do it right now too. So this is let's say day 15. Well, this is not going to automatically send them something, right? You have to do this yourself, but it's a reminder to you to do it. And so what you want to do is so you would go into your Smart CRM. Let's see if I can find myself. There's me. Okay, my phone. Okay, so if I was in here as a lead person, I wouldn't have any information about where I lived or what my info. I wouldn't have any of this. All you would have would be a phone number. You might not even have a name. You might have a name because we do when the lead first comes in, we do a validation right here, oh no, that's a seller valuation. You could even do a valuation here by clicking this, and it'll look for things to say, hey, is this right? And it'll try and find extra information, but it didn't find anything here because this is my crappy email address that I don't ever use. But anyway, but let's say you don't have an email, you don't have a name, you have nothing. All you have is this phone number. But you know that they were interested in this Abaddon listing. Let's find it. Abaddon. I keep wanting to say it's Auburn. You want to say Abaddon, which is like a birding thing we have here in Oregon. Anyway, and so you could go in here and you could go similar listings. And you could say, I want to text these listings. Okay, I want to text these listings to, and you would have to find, all you'd have to do is put the name of the person or their phone number, and you have to find it and send it that way. The other option you could do is, let's see, you could say, hey, let me go back. Nope, cancel. Let me find my phone number. So I'll find my phone number and I'll go back to here to, and if you didn't have the name, it would just let you select the phone number. And then you can say, I think you might be, so, hi, it just thought you'd be interested in, spell stuff right, Heather, in some similar properties to, whatever it was. I can like 1, 2, 3. Abdon, I can't remember what that was. Abdon Street or whatever. Street. You could put the property link in there. And then again, that link is gonna follow whatever rules you have set up on your website. So if it's set up to let them look at a bunch of properties, they might not sign up. You might not get an email out of this situation. Properties, right? The other option is to make a squeeze page and send it to them. So let's do that real fast too. It's just another option, but you could send this if you have your stuff set up so they can only look at one property and then they're going to ask to sign up. You might very well get them to sign up off of this link. But again, you probably might not be able to click it together with their phone number either. So another option is to go back to Shirley and say, okay, 3 bed, 1 bath, 110 or 1,000 square feet, which you would know because it's your listing, right? And Shirley, so you could go to your lead engine, build a squeeze page, Shirley. Thinking about it, but it's slow because I'm zooming. And so it was, I can't remember what it was, 3 bedroom. And it was, let's do like 800. No, I think let's just do 500 to 1,500 square feet. And it was 300 and something grand. So let's do 300, 1, 2, 3, and 400, 1, 2, 3. And then we could make it, we could say, okay, source is sign writer. Hashtag is, you know, Auburn Avenue. Or whatever you want to make it so that you know, and then we can say, hey, they've got to immediately sign up. We want to get that email this time. And then actually it was a single family. Let's do that too. I think single family. Okay. So we're going to generate that link. Now, whenever you make a squeeze page, you're going to send to somebody, make sure that the parameters you made elicited something for you. So I'm just going to copy this and make sure that I'm getting a list here. And here we go. We got 7 things that are similar. So you could go back and say, again, you wouldn't have any of this because all you'd have is a phone number, but you would do send text and you could say, hi, maybe Shirley sold, or maybe Shirley sold, maybe Obdon sold you 1, 2, 3, Obdon, Auburn. It was Auburn, I think. Just went off the market, but I thought you'd like to see some similar properties, right? I can spell. Typing is a problem for me though. Ask them, are these in line with what you're looking for? And you can send it, right? One other thing I want to show you about sending sending text messages to these leads is the other thing you can do is you can send them that list of leads. You can also, think about this. Send them, if you have the MLS number, there's this guy right here. Sometimes people don't know this either, but if you're in your CRM and yourself, and you send a text message, you can put this MLS number here. And if you do that, it's going to attach a image of the house in the text message. So it just kind of jogs their memory, be like, hey, so you could, maybe what you do is when I should have picked a name for this. Auburn sells Obdon or whatever it was sells. You pull everybody who came in from Obdon or Auburn or whatever it was, and you send a mass text with the MLS ID attached, which has the picture, and be like, "Hey, sorry, it's sold. Here's some similar properties, or hey, just want to let you know it's sold. This is how much it sold for. Are you still looking for properties in this area? You just send a mass text out even with that ID attached, but that way it'll kind of jog their memory. Oh yeah, I was in front of that house. I know what it looks like. I've looked at it before. You know, you can do that. You can also send the link to the house, but if it had sold, it might not, might not have a link anymore. But anyway, those are all kind of strategies for sending text messages to these people when all you have is a phone number. So that is my spielio for all of that. Grab that share code and use it, add it to your stuff. And I highly recommend getting those sign writers. Oh, last thing I wanted to say that I didn't say to begin with was what happens when my listing sells and I have this sign writer. All you have to do is go back into this, edit it, and then you just go in and you say, here, thanks for your interest in 123 Main Street. Here's the listing info. And that same code will work, but instead of sending this message, it's going to send the message that you edited it. So you can just keep reusing those signs. So you take it off, something sells, you take it off that one, you put up a listing a week later, you put it back on, you just come in here and change the message that's sending out. And again, if you're just using that ubiquitous hashtag for sign writer, that's going to send out that, you don't have to even mess with that. It's always just going to run that same campaign for you. So last pro tip for you. Does anybody have any questions about this topic? And then if not, we can move on to any questions people might have about any topic their heart desires to talk about. Any questions for me for this or for anything? Sherion says, I joined a few minutes late. Will this recording be available after? Absolutely. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, and I'll put this in the chat, but go to our YouTube channel. Probably by the end of the day, I will have this up and you'll be able to see it. All of our past success meetups are here in the channel. And if you are, this is the videos, but if you go to home, pause this. We do have a success meetups, tips and tricks playlist, and that's just all the just this particular meetup that we have, and they're all posted after the fact. Sometimes it takes a few days depending on who the trainer is. I try and get mine up that day. The other place that I will put it to is I always put it on our Facebook page, which I'll put in the chat. If you haven't been here, please come here. We post the topics for the following week on Fridays. But here, like I'll post, this is one I did last week. I'll post that to Facebook as well. And when we also try and post them to, let's find it. Like here, see, we put it as a comment on when we have the schedule out that we post on Fridays. We try to post it there too. Okay, Jen wants to know, can you show us where in the client's contact it shows which campaigns they're getting? Absolutely. So if you are in here, right, so here's my contact. Right here is where it shows that they have campaigns. Now I don't have a campaign running. Let's try and find somebody who has a running campaign. Let's go to, you can also look to see who's got what campaigns running, like a whole list of them. So if you went to contact behavior, contacts with a campaign, these are the two campaigns I guess I have turned on. So what that is. But if you apply that filter, oh, I might not have anybody with a campaign running, to be quite honest with you, because shoot, okay, let's find them. More contacts. Let's do this one. No, yeah, let's just go back to here. So let's say I was on a campaign. So if I was on a campaign, you could go in and see right here that I was on this campaign called Happy. I don't know where that came from. Someone made that in my account. But you could also go back to your filters and search and find out everybody that is on the campaign Happy. It's on behavior. So I should show up in that list now. Right there. So I'm on the Happy campaign. So both of the ways you can figure it out. If you want to know everybody that's on a certain campaign, you can pull it in your filter. If you just want to go into a certain contact, you can look over on the side and see what campaign they have running. Anybody else have any questions? It's your chance. Anything you like. I got 10 minutes left. Who wants to know what? Anybody? All right, cool guys. Well, it was I'm glad everybody tuned in, and go get your sign writers made with some text codes and get yourself a you're welcome, Tim. Get yourself some your own smart number if you want, and happy selling. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your week, and meet us back here next week. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.